So I just changed the power steering rack, sorry, the electric power steering rack in my Toyota Passo because it was making a knocking sound. I thought it was the shock absorber top mount initially, but it's actually a little bush that's made really poorly from the factory, located at this end of the steering rack here. It's made of nylon or something, and that's the movement. It's only a tiny bit of movement, probably 1 millimeter side to side, but that's enough to make quite a obvious knocking sound through the car. I don't know if you can actually see inside there. I'll try to lift this up. But yeah, that's it there, right where the shaft goes into that housing. There should be a bush there, and it wears out and causes a hell of a noise. So to remove the rack is actually quite easy. You can't really see there, but there's 4 bolts that you have to go down in through the engine bay that secure the rack down to the subframe, and you can access them all fairly easily. There's one on this side that you have to get from underneath, but again, you don't have to remove too much. I did remove the little plastic shield just there, just to give me a little bit more space to put my extension bar. So yeah, basically just remove the front wheels, pop out the tie rod ends, and then take the tie rod ends off to give you a little bit more space. You can leave the inner rack end on, it doesn't need to come off. And there's 2 bolts, 2 little bolts / screws inside the car, which you can't really see, but it's down by the foot pedals, and that's on the steering column, so the universal. So I just marked those with some twink, so just to give me some marks when I put them back on. So there's two bolts there. They've got a 12mm socket, fits over them, and you've also got to take off a couple of like this steel thing here, which is all quite easy to take off, and it slides off because it's got that little opening, so you can slide it off the column. So I just made sure my steering wheel was in the right position, because you don't want to go removing it and moving it around. You do not want to turn it, because you'll break the clock spring for the airbag. So try and keep that locked straight. So getting the steering rack out is a bit of a mission. There's a big rubber like boot that goes around the steering rack where it goes into the steering column. There's a rubber boot there, so you've got to remove that and then pull the steering rack out, and the rack comes out this side. This is the only side it comes out. You don't have to take off any of the suspension or anything, but it's hard to get out. You have to jiggle it around, move it around for quite a while just to get it out. And then when you're putting your reconditioned or new rack back in, it's the same. It's a bit of work, and it's got to go in from this side, from the passenger side of the car. Otherwise you won't get it in. And when you come to put that rubber boot back on, where the shaft of the steering rack goes to the steering column, try putting that on. I put it on after I'd bolted the rack down to the subframe, and it was a bit of a nightmare. I mean, I had to fight it for about half an hour, but I did get it. There's just limited space down there to work. So now I just need to sort the wheel alignment of the car out. That's about it, really. Cool. I never saw much information about this in English, so I wanted to do a quick little video.